So, what is going on, everybody? Crypto Ed here, and I'm excited to be here to talk about the role of communities in the crypto space. Within the crypto space, as you all know, the crypto journey is not meant to be travel alone, and and it can be made more enjoyable if you are in a good community. And just like in real life, we all need like mentors. We all need people in our lives who can like guide us along the way. And today, I am excited to introduce to you um, two of the most active community builders in this space that I've been on in the Facebook place. So we have Rose Pinochet, who runs the Cryptocurrency 2021 Facebook group, and also Curtis Caldwell from Cryptocurrency Sequan. So it should be Cryptocurrency Questions and Answers group. So yeah, so feel free to introduce yourselves and maybe like do like a 1 minute intro about yourself and your group. So maybe start with Rose.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Ed. So yeah, initially we had Stock Market 2021, and it's funny because we had like 200K members, and that was a group that we built, for a few years. So when the crypto world started, exploding, my friend Dan and I decided to say, oh well, let's start the crypto group, because we were getting like just loaded with questions about crypto in the stock market group, and it was very, very poorly just devised in that way. It was just too much of an inflow. So within 1 year, we kind of have 37,000 members, and that fluctuates because the amount of scammers, and we have like 20 active mods who help us reduce scammers. But it's a very, very active community to get 30, like I said, over 30,000, over 35,000 people in a year without really doing any sort of Facebook advertising is pretty impressive. That means people want to learn more. People are disenchanted with the old ways. And that's why you have people like Peter Schiff who are like, doing like crypto, it doesn't exist. But people are like, actually, I've made more money on crypto than I've made in the stock market. And actually, the applications of crypto are so much more easy to follow. So we like it more. And I'm not saying I was a non-believer, but it took me a while to get my feet wet in the crypto space. And the more you learn, the more the pieces of the puzzle come together. And that's why I'm such an advocate of what you said, building the journey with people. And I don't think anyone knows so much that they can't learn from other people, which is why it's important to have CoinFest and other conferences, which again, thank you for organizing.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And then let's hear from Curtis about Sequans. You're on mute, Curtis. You need to unmute yourself first.
Thank you. It's all the technology, right? So yeah, Sequan, abbreviation, acronym for Cryptocurrency Questions, Answers, and News. So the reason why I started Sequan was, as you all know, there's not really a whole lot out there in the terms of crypto education that I think, there is some now, but when I got started, there wasn't much. And
you're on mute again, Curtis.
Necessarily who you can trust. I'm sorry, am I breaking up?
No, you're fine. You were muted for a second.
Somebody was calling me. I'm on my phone because of the Adopt a Highway. I'm in my car, but so yeah, when I was getting into crypto, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have people that I could turn to or call, and it was pretty rough to navigate. There was a lot of people out there that just wanted to take my money, and so I kind of made it a point to create a group and look for people that were wanting to learn, or people that were afraid and didn't understand because they didn't know anything. And the whole idea of Sequan was to connect people that didn't know a whole lot with people that knew plenty, right? And let them collaborate between each other and to try to elevate each other together. Like we've got people in our group that are miners, we've got people in our group that are really into NFTs that are starting to get into, Mark is starting his YouTube channel and that's starting to go really well. And, just to elevate each other and build a community and everybody find their niche. This is a growing market and everybody that wants to be in this market can find a place in this market if you look for the void, right? You look for the gap and you fill that gap. But yeah, and the thing that I like the most about it is about crypto in general is, Rose and I are both on Facebook, but I'm thinking that, community is going to move off of these large centralized platforms. And, that's another going back to Gaia. We want to help spin some of these communities into multi social media platform communities through decentralized autonomous organizations. And Gaia can be a kind of a catalyst for that. So, but yeah, I'm in the group every day. People reach out to me, IM me. We're very particular about who we let in the group. But it's a lot of fun, everyday thing. So.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I know that. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Communities are evolving. I remember when I first joined crypto back in 2015, 2016. I mean, it was before it moved on to Facebook and the internet. And the only way I actually connected with people was through in-person meetup groups. Fortunately, where I live, there was a hack space. You can call this hack space. So I was in a room with a lot of people who were I can say anarchists, cyberpunks and such, right? But a lot of them were mostly developer folks. But the problem was I didn't really feel that fit in too well. Even though I tried to learn the lingo and everything, right? But I was a non-developer. I didn't know how to code and such. And they were all talking about check out this new code, check out this smart contract I put together, check out this mining rig. And I mean, it's exciting, but at the same time, it didn't really. I was still trying to find my place, right? And it was only in 2017 when it started going mainstream. We started seeing more people on, I guess non-developers, right, starting to take the lead and building communities, right. I started seeing I guess you can say YouTube communities popping up, right, but there are also risks involved with that too, because not everybody on YouTube talking about crypto are out there for everybody's best interest. A lot of them, they run YouTube channels, they talk crypto because they have a referral link for either a scammy project or for a project that may not be for everybody, and they try to push it onto everybody. And I remember the first community I joined was a Discord group of a YouTuber who was mostly you can say he was a shiller. He was just shilling. He was talking about all these projects some of you may remember BitConnect and all these other coins, right? And he was telling people join this, join that, and I mean it was a rough journey for me. I got burned a number of times, but eventually, right, I started my own group, right? I had my own meetup group in Vancouver, and I met a lot of great people. And then eventually, with the pandemic, right, we moved online, but we are seeing that the role of communities is important. And there's a saying that how far you go can't be determined by the people you interact with, right? The 5 to 10 closest people you interact with, especially in crypto, the 5 to 10 people you get your sources from, right? The 5 to 10 people you share ideas with, right? In crypto, right? They'll determine how far you will go. And if you are interacting with mostly moon boys and shillers, then your wealth level, right, your income, your crypto, how far you're going in the journey will be equivalent to what a moon boy and a shiller goes. And usually they are near the bottom, right? If you want to go far, you want to go far, you want to make a difference, right? You want to associate yourself with like movers and shakers, right? Just like how Rose was mentioning in the last session, she talked about how she and Curtis connected at a lot of like technical level, like crypto level, like from an impact space, right? And they're able to go far and develop a coin, like a Gaia coin, and I do want to, I guess, I do want to like give like an encouragement for everyone to like the next time you listen in on your like YouTuber, right, or maybe like you hang out in your room, right, think about like who are the people you hang out with, because as I say, right, the average of the 5 people you hang out with will probably determine your where you will be in the next 5 years. So yeah, so just a bit about myself and my observation in the space, and yeah, so Rose, do you have a question about I guess in terms of the way that you run the group, like you have a really big group, you have like 30, 40, 50,000 people in the group, so how do you determine like what type of content gets posted in a group as big as yours?
Oh, goodness. So, the reason why I think Curtis and I had our conversations about moving out of Facebook was because Facebook just has all these ridiculous rules. So we kind of wanted everyone's voice to be heard. The thing that I absolutely did not allow was, as he said, ruin boys. I love that term. I'm co-opting that term, and scammers. So if any of my mods or any of any of the admins see someone from like Nigeria, not really a viable candidate. That's why we put mathematical questions in. That's why we put, purpose questions in. And even, I mean, obviously scammers can bypass all those, but no one's really going to take the time to develop like an answer for this. So we have a good system of like vetting scammers plus like a lot of like the tech involved. But anyone who posts things that are, kind of contain like any of this false information, Facebook flags a lot of it. So we've had to kind of check every single post from every single member and approve it or not approve it, which took hours on end. We could not add enough mods for that. So after we had that really important lesson, we're like, okay, cool. It's time to really delegate what is allowed in the community. Any questions are allowed. Any uses of wallets are allowed. Anything that helps people invest, or I guess maybe determine what a good project is versus a bad project, is allowed. And of course, we've used some of our space to allow some advertisements, but we, like I'll look at the ledgers and I'll need to make sure that the product is good. Like SafeMoon came to us to advertise. I'm like, yeah, no. And they made like 5 accounts at least. And they're like, hey, we want to advertise with you. Then they start going to our mods. It's like, hey, we'll pay you like $1,000. They're like, yeah, that's not going to be okay because Rose will literally kill us. But we heard about your project, and I don't think this is just good for anybody, because anyone who's invested in SafeMoon couldn't take their money out. So it's like you had all your money going to the moon, which is, applause, great, but then you couldn't take it out. We want to stay away from things like that. Anything that seems to be like a 1-2 punch project and then, disappears into the ether, we don't allow that. And we actually discourage conversations about it. Like, I will remove it, because these people have insane funds for, marketing teams. And that's the problem. You don't build community that way. You build scammers and you make them rich. So we, or at least I personally avoid that. And I'm actually either an admin or a mod in Curtis's group. And I remember I removed someone and Curtis was like, thank you, Rose, for doing that. I was like, yeah, you're not going to say this in a group, where you're getting a lot of resources from. And again, it's a lot of shilling. And I know we both like to avoid that, but I'll let Curtis speak more on that.
Yeah. And I'm also a mod or an admin in Rose's group too. And I'm not kidding. There's mornings where I'll wake up and her group's got like a 1,000 requests, for membership. So, and we're pretty selective with hers too. But yeah, and the thing about it, and this is what I was talking to Rose about, and I even did a sample in my group today. And Rose, I think this would be a pretty good experiment for your group too. Is I said, what's going to be the next big category in crypto for 2022? And I listed, DeFi, and I listed, of course, large caps, and DAOs, and smart contract platforms, and all these things. And the overwhelming majority of people on Facebook are saying DAOs are going to be the next big thing. So one of the things in crypto, I think, that is really tough is, when people talk about launching a coin, you don't just build a project and it takes off, right? You got developers that are trying to build communities, and then you got communities that are trying to find developers. So this kind of the scenario that we're in right now, where we've got these super large communities just sitting on Facebook and other places where it's centralized, they just need to be matched up with good developers, and then all of a sudden you have a vibrant community, right? It's hard to build a community, but to connect to a community that's already there is a lot simpler of a task. But yeah, and the big thing is, and the same thing's going to happen with code too, right? Where right now coding is a very technical thing, and a lot of coders don't like this idea because for them it's kind of not such a great thing. But even coding at some point in time is going to become very not automated, but very cut and paste, and very kind of choose your board here, choose your options for what you want in your app, and these sorts of things. But what's happening in the near future right now is you have a lot of very non-technical DAO type tools that are being built or already exist, especially on Ethereum. But a lot of them have been duplicated on layer twos like Polygon Matic, that are very similar projects. They just have different names and maybe a lot of the same code, but there's all kinds of DAO platforms right now, I think, that people are not aware of. But yeah, I think next year is going to be huge for DAOs, and I'm pretty excited about it. So.
Yeah. On the note of DAOs and tools and such, right? I've been pretty active in the Discord space, and I love how there are more and more like crypto, like blockchain integrations with Discord apps. Like there was this one community I joined. They actually they use like they have different roles. So you're not familiar with Discord. It is like a forum, but like a Facebook group, but with a lot more applications to it. And one of the functions they have is in order to join, right, you have to be holding onto like a certain number of tokens, like their DAO governance tokens. And once they verify that, and they use a bot to do that, right? They'll give you access to the rest of the rooms, and you have like different rooms, different categories. So maybe your one room would be on maybe development, and another room is on maybe price chat, and the room is for like memes and such, right? And I just love how a lot of communities that they're starting to develop. They're starting to go beyond just a room for a casual discussions, right? And I do believe that in the long run, people will start migrating out of Facebook, unless Facebook is able to integrate, right? We have a lot of these integrations and functions relating with DAOs and such. I do feel that in the long run, there'll be more and more groups. They'll be founding on Slack and Discord, and that's And I do love the idea of groups using their own governance tokens, because it does give the community members a say in where the group heads, how it works and such. But it's also important to have safeguards too, because the biggest risk I could see a group could face is just the risk of being hijacked, right? Because it doesn't take a lot of work for, let's say, SafeMoon folks, right, to just flood into a group and buy one token and start like swinging the vote, right, the direction of the group. So maybe I'd love to hear from you, Chris. I'm like, are there any safeguards out there?
Well, first off, there was somebody had asked a question that I wanted to kind of answer. It says, "Are these groups public facing? How does one find and join them?" So most of the DAOs are, and I guess the way that you want to think about a DAO for those that aren't familiar is, you've got different types of organizations. Most of them are top down, and a DAO basically usually rewards the participants in the organization instead of the shareholders, right? You've got everybody working together, and the people that provide the most value to the network are usually the people that hold the most tokens and votes. Now it can be as loose as you want it to be, or it can be as stringent as you want it to be. It really depends. But where do you find these kind of groups? Well, there are a couple places you can find them directly, but remember, these are kind of companies or communities that just exist online. So some of them aren't very forward facing, but you can easily find them by getting on these DAO platforms like maybe Oregon or DAO House, DAO Stack. So if you look there, you'll see communities of DAOs, and it'll have all their socials and where they're doing business and that sort of thing. Or, if you want one that's a little bit more developed, get on CoinMarketCap and just type in DAO and start doing a little bit of research and see if you want to be a part of any of those. But I think the real opportunity here is in the newer DAOs that, are going to meteorically rise in 2022, and you just don't know it yet. So,
Yeah, you can also add that like there are different groups out there. Like you have some groups that are more general. You have groups that are more like ecosystem focused, right? So maybe like if you recently started hanging out, like just started using like some of the dApps on, let's say the Phantom ecosystem, right? Tribute to Austin and Simone, who was presenting earlier, right? If you want to hang out and discover more about the Phantom network, right? They do have like a Discord group, right? And a Telegram group. Personally, from my experience, I haven't had that great of an experience on Telegram group because it's hard to search for things. I mean, like there's a lot of postings and such, and it's very like if it's very active, like you could go to bed and wake up and you just realize that you just missed like 10,000 messages on Telegram. So I'm not a huge Telegram fan, but for Discords, I do love the organizational structures and a lot of a lot of ecosystems, right? These are niche ecosystems, right? They have their own like groups, right? And some could be put on by the official foundation. So you have the Phantom Foundation with one, right? And then others could be more like more of a specific group, right? But when it comes to working with like a specific niche group, let's say like a DeFi like group, right? You have to be careful. You do have to do your research, right? To find out more about like who are the people behind it and what is the motive on running it, because there are a lot of groups out there, right? They exist like for like either for like to benefit the creators like wallet, right? And others are they more just to like show us a certain project. So yeah, you do like that. Do your research, do due diligence, and don't just like ape into any project that's like mentioned there.
Yeah, I'd like to add. I mean, that's good stuff. So, I mean, some DAOs are just exist to pool money to buy other assets, right? Like some of you are probably familiar with the Constitution. Is it Constitution DAO where they all pooled their money together and tried to purchase?
One of the original like U.S. constitutions, right?
Yeah. So, but yeah, some people will pool their money. They'll start a DAO. Everybody puts in a certain amount of money. They'll put it in a multi-signature safe, and they'll all decide what to invest in together, right? And I mean, there's all types of different DAO type models and reasons why they exist. But yeah, I mean, and community is the reason why the large caps are what they are, right? But I think the focus is shifting to community and social media, because that's you're starting to see this kind of crypto renaissance all of a sudden where everybody is getting a little bit of FOMO, right? Everybody's heard about it. Everybody wants to know what it is. And, some of us that have been here for a while, nobody's looking at us anymore like we've got a third arm growing out of our head, you know. But yeah, I mean, things are good in the crypto space right now, I think, despite the dip that we're experiencing right now. So
It's just on sale. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
good.
it's on sale. I like that. It's good.
Okay.
On
So
sale.
we're coming up on the hour. So I do want to give each of you like a chance to maybe share any like final remarks before we wrap up. So let's start with Rose.
I just wanted to answer one question in the Q&A. I think it was TC. How are these groups? Are these groups public facing? If you want to know about our groups, I'm sure Ed can post links to our groups. But they're Cryptocurrency 2021. And Curtis, what's yours?
Cryptocurrency questions, answers, and news.
Yes, but
And
again,
that's exactly what we talk about.
yes. And as I said, we'll post them. And as far as final thoughts, other than everything we've covered, I'm just excited on the new prospects. It's pretty much the opportunity for us as individuals to take back the information, the flowing information, and the decision making, and putting it back into our hands and our community's hands. And that's, I think, the most important takeaway from NFTs and crypto. And I think one beautiful thing about Gaia Coin, and I'll let Curtis elaborate on it, is that we are always looking to for sponsors to create projects, and we're always willing to, I guess, help flourish ideas because people want to get into the space, and we are certainly more than happy to welcome them and finagle the space for them.
Yeah, thanks, Rose. So yeah, that's the idea, right? Is if somebody watching or somebody that we reach out to has a environmental idea, but maybe they don't have the resources to make it happen. That's what we do. That's what we're looking to do. We're looking to help people that are interested in helping the environment and work with them closely to help see their vision through.